Hello, students. In this session, we are going to continue with the second chapter Nelson Mandela Long Walk to Freedom. So, let us begin. A few moments later, we all lifted our eyes in awe as a spectacular array of South African jets, helicopters, and troop carriers roared in perfect formation over the Union buildings. It was not only a display of pinpoint precision and military force, but a demonstration of the military's loyalty to democracy, to a new government that had been freely and fairly elected. Only moments before, the highest generals of South African Defence Force and police, their chests bedecked with ribbons and medals from days gone by, saluted me and pledged their loyalty. I was not unmindful of the fact that not so many years before they would not have saluted but arrested me. Finally, a chevron of Impala jets left a smoke trail of black, red, green, blue, and gold of the new South African flag. In this paragraph, Mandela says that a few moments later, they all lifted their eyes in surprise. Just after the newly elected president's address to the audience, there was an impressive arrangement of fighter jets, helicopter, and soldier transporters. That means there was an air show, and everyone present there lifted their eyes in amazement, in surprise, to see the air show. The air show was a display of pinpoint precision. That means it symbolized perfection as well as military's respect and obedience towards the free country. The high commanders whose uniforms were decorated with the medals that they have won for their bravery. That is the meaning of bedecked. Bedecked means decorated. They also saluted Mandela and they all promised their loyalty. Mandela says that he was well aware that he was conscious that these commanders who were now saluting him would have arrested him under the previous rule, as during the supremacy of whites, Mandela was considered to be a criminal. The air show finally ended by making of the South African flag in the sky. The jet planes made a pattern in the shape of V. Okay. Finally, a chevron of Impala jets. That means these airplanes, jet planes, they formed a shape of V and they presented the South African flag. In the sky, they showed the South African flag, which include different colors like black, red, green, blue, and golden colors. So here you can see the V-shaped formation of the jet planes. Now let's move on to the next paragraph. The day was symbolized for me by the playing of our two national anthems and the vision of the white singing Nkosi Sikeleli Africa and black singing Die Stem, the old anthem of the Republic. Although that day neither groups knew the lyrics of the anthem they once despised, they would soon know the words by heart. Here in this paragraph, Mandela says that he remembers the day as the playing of two national anthems of the country. So on the day of inauguration of the new democratic non-racial government, two national anthems were played there. One of the whites and the other one was of the blacks. The name of whites' national anthem was Nkosi Sikeleli Africa, and the blacks were singing their national anthem Die Stem. This Die Stem was the old anthem of the Republic. But on that day of inauguration, both these groups, neither the blacks nor the whites, knew the lyrics of the anthem by heart. The whites once hated the blacks' national anthem Die Stem, but he expressed his hope that they would soon learn the lyrics of the anthem by heart. Moving on to the next paragraph. On the day of the inauguration, I was overwhelmed with a sense of history. In the first decade of the 20th century, a few years after the bitter Anglo-Boer War and before my own birth, the white-skinned people of South Africa patched up their differences and erected a system of racial domination against the dark-skinned people of their own land. The structure they created formed the basis of one of the harshest, most inhumane societies the world has ever known. Now, in the last decade of the 20th century, and my own eighth decade as a man, that system had been overturned forever and replaced by one that recognized the rights and freedom of all peoples, regardless of the color of their skin. So, here, on this day of inauguration, the author was remembering his past days when the apartheid system was started in South Africa. So, this system began to emerge in South Africa after the Anglo-Boer War, which took place between the whites and the black people. The majority population of South Africa were the blacks. So, this war, Anglo-Boer War, took place there, and thereafter they started the policy of segregation in the land of South Africa. So, it resulted in the inequality and inferior treatment of dark-skinned people. Okay, so dark-skinned people, I told you that they formed the major population of South Africa. So these people, black people, were deprived of their basic fundamental rights. And as a result, one of the world's most brutal and inhumane society was born in South Africa. So this system of apartheid began in South Africa even before Nelson Mandela was born. The system of apartheid created an atmosphere of extreme cruelty and injustice to a group of particular community, the dark-skinned people. So they were deprived of all their fundamental basic rights. Now, Mandela is in his eighth decade as a man. That means he is at the age of 80. He became old. He and many of his comrades have fought against this policy of segregation, and they have changed the entire system. And today they have a new government where the freedom of all people will be protected regardless of the color of their skin, caste, gender, or age. So, Mandela says that a new government is formed by the effort of these people. They got freedom from the clutches of these whites, from the segregation policy. They are liberated. And so, this government which is formed, which is installed today, is for all the people, regardless of their caste, color, skin color, gender, or anything. No kind of discrimination will be there in South Africa hereafter. Moving on to the next paragraph, we have that day had come about through the unimaginable sacrifices of thousands of my people, people whose suffering and courage can never be counted or repaid. I felt that day, as I have on so many other days, that I was simply the sum of all those African patriots who had gone before me. That long and noble line ended and now began again with me. I was pained that I was not able to thank them and that they were not able to see what their sacrifices had wrought. So, in this paragraph, Mandela says that this day of freedom, where all the people are equal and free, was a result of sacrifices of thousands of men and women. They all have fought all their lives only to see this day of freedom. Here, Mandela wishes that if he could thank all these people who had sacrificed their lives for this day of freedom. But it is really very unfortunate that they didn't live in this world to see the result of their courage. He also admits that he gathered his courage and power from all these people. So he feels very sad that he was not able to thank those people who had sacrificed their lives for the country's freedom. Next paragraph. The policy of apartheid created a deep, long lasting wound in my country and my people. All of us will spend many years, if not generations, recovering from that profound hurt. But the decades of brutality and oppression had another unintended effect, and that was that it produced the Oliver Tambos, the Walter Sislers, the Chief Lithulis, the Yusuf Dadus, the Bram Fishers, the Robert Sobukis of our time. Men of such extraordinary courage, wisdom, and generosity that their like may never be known again. Perhaps it requires such depths of oppression to create such heights of character. My country is rich in the minerals and the gems that lie beneath its soil, but I have always known that its greatest wealth is its people, finer and truer than the purest diamonds. So, what Mandela says here in this paragraph is that this oppression policy, apartheid, created a deep and lasting wound in the mind of the people of South Africa. So he says that it will take a long time, maybe many generations, to recover from this deep wound. Mandela also mentions that this hard time had many negative impacts, but it also brought out many strong and courageous men who stood up and raised their voice against the system of apartheid. Many years of oppression and brutality brought these people to fight against the injustice. Some courageous freedom fighters who were produced out of the oppression and brutality were Oliver Tambos, you can see here, Oliver Tambos, Walter Sisslers, Chief Lithulis, Yusuf Dadus, Bram Fishers, Robert Sobukis, etc. So these were the people, these were the men of extraordinary courage, wisdom and generosity who were the comrades of Nelson Mandela to fight against the injustice or the apartheid system. He also says that South Africa is rich in minerals. Okay, South Africa is rich in minerals and gems. But according to Nelson Mandela, he says that the greatest strength of the nation lies in its people. The people of South Africa are finer and truer. According to Mandela, he says that the people of South Africa are finer and truer than the purest diamonds. Moving on to next paragraph. It is from these comrades in the struggle that I learned the meaning of courage. Time and again, I have seen men and women risk and give their lives for an idea. I have seen men stand up to attacks and torture without breaking, showing a strength and resilience that defies the imagination. I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. So, Nelson Mandela got his strength and courage to fight against the brutal system of apartheid from all the great nationalists whom I mentioned earlier. All these people had risked their lives and tolerated all the ill treatment, all the injustice by the whites. But they never stopped fighting. Thus, he learned from their lives that courage didn't mean the absence of fear. But what is courage according to Nelson Mandela? Courage means the ability to overcome that fear. If a man is not afraid of anything, he cannot be called as a brave man. But when he conquers or when he overcomes that fear, he can be called as a courageous person. Or it can be called as courage. Next. No one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin or his background or his religion. People must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love. For love comes more naturally to the human heart than its opposite. Even in the grimmest times in prison, when my comrades and I were pushed to our limits, I would see a glimmer of humanity in one of the guards, perhaps just for a second, but it was enough to reassure me and keep me going. Man's goodness is a flame that can be hidden but never extinguished. In this paragraph, Mandela says that man is taught by his society to hate humans because of their skin color, age, gender, and religion. No one is born by hating another person because of the color of his skin or his background or any other thing. Here, Mandela wants to convey that if people can be taught hatred, they can also be taught love and brotherhood. In their toughest times in prison, when Mandela and his comrades were being treated brutally, Mandela would see a ray of humanity and kindness in one of the guards, and that little ray of kindness was enough for him to keep going ahead. He believes that goodness in human beings can be suppressed, but it can never be extinguished. Extinguished means it can never be blown out or eliminated from a man. That is the end of this second session. Let us wind up this session here. The remaining part of this chapter will be continued in the next session. Thank you.